everyone, so I thought because it was a beautiful day I would come out and do another hula hoop tutorial for you. Now when you are learning to hula hoop, there are two main ways to learn to keep the hoop up. The first is side to side, which looks something like this, and the second is front to back, which looks something like either this or this. Now I've already done a tutorial for how to side hoop, so I will leave the link to that in the description box below. Now the good news is that the fundamentals for learning side to side hooping and front to back hooping are really similar, but everyone tends to have a preference. For example, I preferred learning using side to side, but my mum much preferred the front to back method. So before we start learning to front to back hoop, it's important that we know what our stance should look like and what the motion should look like. So in order to front to back hoop, we're going to have one foot out in front of the other. It doesn't matter which one. As you start to learn, you'll very quickly work out which one you prefer. And then what we do once we're in this position is we move this hip in a straight line. So imagine there's a straight line here and we just move our hip along it, okay? Same if we are using the other leg. Straight line, forwards, backwards. So it comes forwards, backwards. You can come on your toes on your back foot just to give you that little bit of a push forwards when you come forward. Now the important thing to remember, I'm going to face you this time, is that our hips stay flat, completely like this as they come forwards and backwards. If we start to go off to one side and start to move our hip sort of at a diagonal, the hoop will start to come up our body. So we've got to make sure that we're coming forwards and backwards using the toes on the back foot if you need to. You can practice this in front of a mirror or with your phone popped up on selfie mode, just to check that you feel you have the motion right before you add the hoop in. And then we're ready to get our hoop and start launching the hoop. So when we're ready to launch the hoop, it's important to know whether we prefer hooping to the left or to the right. So what I would recommend doing is just launching it both ways. So we hold it flat to the floor, elbows comfortable, we don't want them locked and we don't want them too tucked in, nice and comfortable, okay? And we're just gonna push it with one hand one way and then the other hand the other way. So first we're gonna use our right hand to push the hoop left. And then we're gonna have a go at using our left hand to push the hoop right. And just seeing which one feels most natural. Everybody has a natural current and you will feel it straight away. For me, I prefer to hoop to the left, but over time, I've learned to do both, which is possible to do. Once you've found your natural current, we're ready to launch the hoop. So we're going to put one foot out in front of the other, and a little bit like we just did for finding left and right, you can launch it both ways and work out which foot you prefer in front. So you can do it with your right foot in front and then launch it again with your left foot in front and see which feels most natural for you. So for me, I find putting my right foot out in front is most natural, so I'm going to use that for this tutorial, but using either foot in front, we're going to do everything the same. So the first thing we're going to do, once we've got our stance, we're going to hold our hoop in the curve of our lower back. It might be tempting to put it higher so that you feel it has further to go to the ground, but it's not going to sit as nicely there, it's going to slip down. And it will sit into this hoop shelf, as I call it, of the curve of our lower back. So once we've got it there, we need to make sure it's flat to the floor, not at an angle. If it's at an angle, it's not going to stay up. So it needs to be flat to the floor. Again, using a mirror, a device on selfie mode, or just asking someone who's with you to just check that you've got it flat to the floor, parallel to the floor, is always really handy. So we're going to tuck it into that hoop shelf, as we call it. We're going to make sure it's touching, okay? If it's not touching, it's going to make a little jolt and it's just not going to get the momentum to keep going around your body. It's got to be launched properly so that it then comes around your body. Okay, so now we have all the steps. We know where to hold it. We know it's got to be touching our body. We know how to have our arms, okay, so not locked out, not too far in. Okay, we know to have it flat. Then we're ready to launch the hoop. And then we start this rocking motion, this straight line motion of the hips forwards and backwards. And I'm going to show you what I meant about your hip coming out. So here you can see my hips are straight on, doing a front to back motion. If I start to bring this front hip out to the side, you can see my hoop is coming up towards my hips, and it's very easy to lose control of it there. We want it to sit in that hoop shelf. Okay, we don't want it to come up, we don't want it to go down. So we can just keep going with that motion, and that should keep the hoop going. It doesn't matter which leg is in front, okay? And we're just driving, as I mentioned, on those toes at the back if we need to, keeping it bouncy to keep that hoop up, keep that momentum going. You are going to drop it while you're learning, it's a given. I don't think there's a person on this planet that has never hula hooped before, picked one up and done it and kept it up indefinitely. From time to time you will drop it. For some of us that's more than other people. We all learn at different speeds. The point is, it's supposed to be fun. If it falls to the floor, keep smiling, pick it up and keep going. I can't wait to see your progress. Do share it with me on social media and tag me in your journey, because I love seeing your hooping. Good luck everyone, and I'll see you all soon.